Hi folks, this is Darren here. If you've seen the description for the podcast I put up the other day, I just really screwed up with myself though, and in fact, because I actually deleted the second half of my recording, and I've been sort of trying to over the last few days sort of edit together something that was be deemed plausible, to put up though. But unfortunately, I'm having such a hard time myself trying to fucking edit my voiceover again into between the gaps between like Derek and Dennis's top 10 games, because I keep fucking up though. I just cannot fucking do it though. It's very hard to do something that you already did though and try to sort of time it together, easily enough, but I can't. Therefore, this part is going to be this part 2 is going to be kind of split into two parts, I guess, where I'm going to keep Denis and Derek's audio. There's going to be some parts of me there because I already did some of it though, but I can't really do the rest. It's just fucking David too hard for me. I'm useless. I'm pretty much useless. So what you're going to get here is you're going to get Denis and Derek. So you're going to get their number 10 to 5 and Denis to 4, and you're going to get a bit of mine as well, a bit of interaction. So I remember certain parts I remember recording now, but I'm going to put up my own sort of little 2.5, part 2.5 for myself. I basically go through what my numbers 10 to 5 are anyway. And then the part 3 will be up, and that'll be the sort of normal stuff because that's where, it was alright then afterwards. So anyway, take care and hope you enjoy this nonetheless. Yeah, I don't really have much to go now. I only have like a couple of more myself though. How many more have you got now, Dennis, though, before I move on?
I only have two more.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll just go through the rest of mine here as well. Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. I was kind of looking forward to this game. It's probably one of my most anticipated games of last year though, because I really, really liked Lords of Shadow on the Xbox 360, and really looking forward to Lords of Shadow 2. It basically is a sort of ties in between the first and second one though, and so it does. Basically, you play as 4 different characters. You play as Gabriel, you play as Alucard, you play as Trevor, and you play as Simon Belmont. So you do. It's a mixture between sort of side-scrolling old school Castlevania action and sort of like the Metroidvania ones, because you do explore this castle, but it's not necessarily kind of really big and open world like the previous ones are though. But I think they were trying to mix in between the two though. It's all right though. Frame rate's a bit hitchy here and there, so it is. It's not necessarily great, but it's not necessarily abomination like the Giant Bomb team seem to think it is. But anyway, yeah, as I said, it's not necessarily good. The combat's just, your typical sort of, you just use your whip though, but you have your sub-weapons and things like that as well. And so it came out in the 3DS, and also it came out in PSN and Xbox Live Arcade later on, HD version, so it did.
I'm sorry, what was the game I played?
Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate.
Is that the 3DS one?
Yes, the 3DS
okay.
version. It came out in March, so it did, and then the other ones came out later on the.
It's like an HD version of it or something.
Yeah, they came in the HD version, so
okay.
they did.
And you?
I don't know if I did like.
Did you play the HD version of that?
Played the trial.
Oh, okay.
So it did. But like it was. But I'm not gonna say I traded it in there. previous one before, the 3DS version. So I did, and just it was all right though, but I ended up being disappointed at the end. To be honest, at the end of the day, so it did. Sonic Lost, not in Sonic Lost. Anarchy Reigns. Sonic Lost World's next. Anarchy Reigns. I don't know. This is the first Platinum game, and I didn't enjoy playing overall though. Like I've enjoyed playing all the other ones though, like Mad World, etc. Bayonetta, things like that now. But this one didn't really enjoy though. It's just really repetitive combat though. It's kind of bland. You play as two different characters. You go through two different campaigns, but they're pretty much the four same areas you go through in each of them. And the missions are boring. It's just a really kind of average game though, and the multiplayer is a bit too chaotic for my own liking. So it is. There's some parts of it look pretty decent though, but it's definitely the first Platinum game that I've played, apart from that DS one that I haven't I've played, that I just didn't enjoy playing overall though, which is a shame because, to say, I love my Platinum games, but this one's just ended up being a pretty big disappointment, to be honest though. And it came out early this year, so it did, early last year, sorry, and it was £20, so it was just a budget title anyway, so thank goodness for that. And finally, Sonic Lost World. Why did I have Sonic Lost World on my list though, even though the fact is it's a Sonic game and they always tend to be disappointing? This one actually looked pretty good because the fact is that it actually looked similar to Super Mario Galaxy. It's like, hey, Sonic game that looks similar to Super Mario Galaxy, heck, I'm in. But unfortunately, once again, Sonic kind of continues to sort of disappoint. Sonic games and back controls tend to just mix together, so they do. They always mix, and they're always the same. Sonic games, they always have sort of slightly back controls, and this is no different though. It's not necessarily a really crap game like some people think it is, but it's just not really that great either, to be honest though. It's an enjoyable game though, but anyway, that's me done. So Dennis, go ahead and see.
I'll just go with one final one. I dropped one of them. Deadpool, which is a game that I bought when it was on sale during the Thanksgiving sale on Steam. Kind of wanted to check out the game, see what it was about. The gameplay is pretty, solid. Everything works well. Everything, the shooting and the fighting is pretty good. But it's the constant, I don't know, it's the whole pee caca, it's like boobs and all that. I don't know what the hell.
Toilet humor.
Yeah, the toilet humor in Deadpool. I don't know if it belongs there. It's like I haven't read a whole lot of Deadpool comics, so I don't know if it's that way in the comics or whatever. But it's
I don't know either. The only thing I know about him is he breaks the fourth wall all the time.
Yeah, that's
in the
what
comics.
he does. Yeah.
Like in the comics, he knows that he's a comic book character somehow.
Well,
but I have not read.
Yeah, in this game, he pretty much he knows he's in the video game because he calls the guys from the I think it's Activision. He calls the guys from Activision. He calls Noel North and he says, "Hey, do you want to do my voice?" And
It's High Moon
High
Studios.
Moon, yeah. High Moon.
Yeah, the Transformers.
Yeah.
There's even some Transformers references in there to the games and all that, which that was pretty cool. But it's just it starts off really it's funny and stuff, but the whole toilet humor gets really really old really fast, and the final boss is just fucking way too hard for me to understand how to complete it. I was at the very end and I didn't finish it because it just got too frustrating. So I said, no, whatever. But that's on my fault. But I mean, the game, the whole toilet humor gets really really old. Like the boobs all here there. Look at those melons on that girl, and then it's like, okay, well, this is a superhero game, dude. It's not supposed to be some college dorm, stuff. I don't know. It's just unappealing. It's not a horrible game, but it's not. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's not that great. So.
I guess you shouldn't play Killer is Dead then.
Yeah, I won't play that game either. So yeah.
I probably should have put that on my list. It's
Not that great.
The combat part of it is just not as good as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they do have the whole like boob stuff. Like if you go on like dates with these girls, and you're like you have to like look at their, you do like sneak peeks at like their boobs and stuff, if make sure that they don't notice you, and you build up this meter and like give them presents. And yeah, there's DLC where you get goggles that lets you like see through their clothes, so you can see them in their underwear, and it's just pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the combat in Dark Souls is better.
But I mean, I like I like toilet humor, but I'm a little bit, but I mean constantly it's like okay, that's enough. Move on to something else. So there you go.
Thank you for that, Dennis. So that's done with our disappointment games now. So we're going to go through our top 10 round robin style. So who'd like to go first?
We can let Derek go first since he hasn't.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is your number 10, Derek?
Number 10 is a game that is not on a lot of people's lists, especially not on Giant Bomb, which I'm kind of surprised by. Tomb Raider.
Yep, that's a great game.
I really enjoyed the game. I think it looks fantastic. I really like the combat system. I like the way they kind of rebooted, Lara Croft. Though I think some of it is a little far-fetched with the like, she's innocent and she doesn't know how to like fight, and all of a sudden she's like killing people left and right and stuff, and it's like that's a little far-fetched, I think. But
yeah, I agree.
That aside, I think everything else about the game is really well done. Although the story is okay, I guess, but really enjoyed my time with that game. I guess my only complaint about it is there's not enough tomb raiding. Like, I wish there was more like platforming, exploring stuff, and not so much of like the combat. It's probably one of the best looking 360 games, if not the best. Like maybe like Halo 4 is up there too. But it looks great. I would like to see it like an HD PC version or whatever. Like I know they're doing that one version for Xbox One, PS4. So maybe I'll like rent that just to see how it looks. But really enjoyed that game. It's too bad there was no DLC, like single player DLC. It was all
that
multiplayer
sucks.
stuff, which was just completely unnecessary. Just like the Dead Space 2 multiplayer is just completely unnecessary. They should have focused. I think they should have focused more on a single player. Not every game needs multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like marketing guys might disagree, but I don't think every game needs multiplayer.
Yeah.
So that was my number 10 of my top 10 games of 2013.
All right, my number 10. Nobody's gonna have this on their list. It is the only. I guess we call Xbox One, PS4 current gen now, or do we still call it next gen?
I say it's current gen.
Yeah. Well, let's say it's an Xbox One game. It's the only one on the list. Sadly, Dead Rising 3 didn't make it, but it's a game that I was playing just a couple hours ago, just before coming on to the podcast. It's NBA 2K14. It's a sports game, so there you go. I got into the NBA series, the NBA franchise, like 3 years ago. Played the first that I played were on the PC. Bought this one for the Xbox One because it's been completely redone. Because the game launched, I think, September or something like that. October, yeah. It launched first, like on the PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. But it launched again on Xbox One and PS4 with more stuff. Like My Career has been completely reworked. The graphics are like godly. It's just incredible. I brought my dad. Like I said, look, come and see the game. And he was watching it. And he was like, "Is this a real game? Real basketball game?" I'm like, "No, it's the video game." He was like, "Oh my god, this looks incredible. Like it's really realistic. It looks great. The gameplay is pretty much the same as it was, but the whole My Career mode which you take your own player and you go through your career. There's a little bit of RPG elements to it. You talk to players, you'll talk to your coach, your the general manager, and he'll ask you what do you think of the team, and you get a couple of like the Mass Effect wheel of answers there, where you can go, okay, well, I don't like this, or I like this, and this will influence what people think of you and your gameplay and your fans and stuff like that. And you have stats that you can put on your player and all that. I really, really enjoyed this game. I played the other ones, not as much as this one, but this one is really, really interesting. I think the whole package, like I said, the graphics and the presentation and everything just comes really great together. And it makes me really, really anticipate like MLB and NHL, see what they're going to do with the new generations, how those games are going to look on the new consoles, how they're going to be. I'm really, really excited to see how that's going to turn out. But yeah, NBA 2K14, my number 10. Awesome game. If you're a sports fan, or not even if you're a sports fan, if you have a little bit of interest to see how it is and what it looks like, if you like going through your My Player and you playing your own guy and on teams and stuff like that, I recommend you try it out. It's really great. Really, really interesting. Yeah, there were some problems with the 2K servers this week. Like I couldn't get into because everything is DRM. So I couldn't get into my season. I couldn't download my guy and play through my season with my guy. That pissed me off a little bit, but those things happen. Just look at SimCity and GTA, and it's stuff that happens. When a game launches like this. So especially through the holidays, people probably got a whole lot of copies of this game during the holidays. So, but yeah, great game. I recommend it.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Now back to Derek with his number 9. What is it, Derek?
Number 9 is a game that I know is on neither of your lists, and it's probably on nobody's list. It's a 3DS game. Project X Zone.
Oh, okay.
You're probably like, what?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I have that game. I forgot to put in my honorable mentions.
It's a strategy RPG, much like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics or Super Robot Wars, which probably it shares the most similarity to. It's just a big mashup of like Namco and Capcom and Sega. Yep, Sega characters. We got there's like Street Fighter characters in there. There's Tekken characters in there. There's Mega Man characters in there. There's
Kids are spray characters represent.
Yep. There's a couple Super Robot Tyson OG Endless Frontier characters. There's like one robot from that game in there. There's Frank West from Dead Rising 1. There's Darkstalkers characters in there. There's that one character from Space Channel 5, that like rhythm dancing game. And, yeah, it's from Sega game. Although I haven't finished the game. I played probably 30 some hours. I got to chapter 21 or so, where I just got to the Mega Man. Like you get Mega Man and Zero on your team, and I wish you would have gotten them a lot sooner. But it's just a lot of fun because it's just a lot of characters that you know and you like, and it's just crazy. Like the different mashups you have. Like you have different teams of like you have a pair unit, basically. You have 2 units. So like there's Ryu and Ken are a unit, and then you have a third spot, which can either be like a support unit. Well, yeah, I guess that's what it is, a support unit. So it could be like somebody completely different. It doesn't have to be from like the same series that, it doesn't have to be from Street Fighter, so you could put, who's like a good support unit? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played it, but, I really like Super Robot Wars, which is basically like the same game except for the battle system is a little different, and it's just a big, huge mashup of all these like robot characters from different animes. And this is like the same thing, but with video game characters. And the battle system is really cool. It's kind of like it's like a real-time strategy system where you have like a set number of moves you can do in each battle, and you want to chain them together to get the most, like the highest combo to get the most damage. And it's a lot of like air juggling that you're doing. And you don't want the enemy to hit the ground, otherwise that'll break your combo. So there's some skill involved, but it is fairly easy overall. Especially if you make sure that you take out every enemy before you finish the chapter. Then you get like the maximum amount of experience in the game. I just really enjoy it. Music is not too bad either, but I really enjoy just the big mashup of the characters, and I do enjoy the combat system too. It's right up my alley. So I haven't finished it. I do plan on going back to it. I was mostly playing it on lunch break at work, but lately I've been watching anime. Yeah, I've been watching an anime during my lunch break recently, and I've been catching up on some comics. But I do plan on going back to this. So probably didn't sell you on the game, but it's just something that's like a personal favorite.
Yeah, I already have the game, so I do. Because like I rented it out though, and then I got it, so I did. Like sort of like just bought enough to sort of get it. Like, hey, this is a pretty good game, and I played it there in work as well, but I got stuck in this point, this chapter where you're in the Ghosts and Goblins world, so it is.
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
And you have to sort of get these like blue guys before they reach the gate, though, and that's the only one I ever failed as well.
Okay. Yeah, you want to use. There's an ability that'll let you increase the amount of spaces you can move across the battlefield.
Right, yeah, because every time I get to the gate, though, like I only tried it like once, though, and then I got there, and that was my first sort of game over the screen, though, and it sucked, though, because it's just really tricky getting them. Because by the time they get there, like it's too. Do
you have the Tales of Vesperia characters yet?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
because he has that guy. I don't forget what his name is.
Yuri.
He has the ability where you can, like, every character in your team can go 5 additional spaces.
Okay.
Maybe you haven't leveled them up high enough. I don't know, but
and
there's some other characters that have that too.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't really use the abilities that much, to be honest. Though I haven't. Like I've sort of pretty much been using a lot of the kind of just the normal attacks. And
I use them all the time.
Right.
The one thing I don't like about the game is it doesn't really tell you how to play very well. Like, it doesn't even describe some of the different systems. You just kind of have to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, it's a good game. I've played it thus far, though. Like I said, I'm not necessarily a big fan of strategy RPGs, so I don't really tend to play them, though. But this one's actually quite enjoyable because it's like you said before, it's not really a difficult one, though. But
especially if you have some interest in the characters.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them from various different.
I mean, odds are you're probably gonna enjoy some of the characters because there's so many,
Mhm. There is.
I mean, there's like Jill and what's his name from Resident Evil?
Chris Redfield.
Yeah, they're in there. Like, there's characters from Valkyria Chronicles, the Sega game. Yeah, there's just tons of characters. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. Oh yeah, Dante from Devil May Cry, like the original one. He's in there.
My number 9 is a game I didn't really expect. I completely forgot about and remembered, like maybe a week or so ago. A game that I really enjoyed, and it's the very first fighting game that I actually finish the story mode in the fighting game. It's Injustice: Gods Among Us, which I put at number 9. I actually really enjoyed this game a whole lot. I really liked the story in the game. Like the two worlds of superheroes. Not really Bizarro world, but it's more like you go into this world and Superman is evil because something happened to him, and some bad guys are good, like Lex Luthor is good and stuff like that. And it's cool. It's really, I think the story was really great. The fighting is really good. Sometimes a little too easy at some points, because I'm not really great at fighting games, but I found myself to be pretty good at this one. So, there are some spots that if you get beaten up by a certain person, you come back and you beat him up like really easily on the second try. So I think that needed to be balanced a little bit more. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game a whole lot. A game made by NetherRealm also, so should mention that. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this game a whole lot. I like that it's not, a cross between Mortal Kombat and DC. It's only DC, even though Scorpion is in the game. But it's pretty much only DC. You play as DC characters and fight as DC characters and all that. I mean, it's, as I said, the first fighting game that I actually finished the story for, and really enjoyed it. Really, really liked it. So that's why it's my number 9. There's some replay value there. You can go to challenges and the challenge trees and all that you can go through. I do want to go back to Mortal Kombat. I was looking to get it on PC, like the complete edition with everything, but it's just too pricey right now for me. So I'll wait until it goes down a little bit more.
I think I got that for free from Humble Bundle.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Warner Brothers Humble Bundle.
That's actually for the arcade collection, not the complete collection.
Oh, really?
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's you get that. That was with the thing. You get the 1, 2, and 3.
That's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. But yeah, this number 9, Injustice. So really enjoyed that game a whole lot.
Did that come out this year?
Yeah, it did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay then, thanks Dennis for that. Then now we get to number 8 with Derek. So Derek, what is your number 8 game?
My number 8 is a game that I believe was at one time on Darren's top 10 list at number 1 for this year. And a game that I wasn't really planning on playing, but the price was right, and I got a nice hardcover strategy guide for like $12. And I figured, you know what, I'll use the strategy guide and I'll play the game. We'll see how it is. Because I really like the move. Well, okay, first it's Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. So I think you probably figured out what that was. I love all of the Studio Ghibli movies, and this is, produced with, I believe, with Studio Ghibli, developed by, was it Level 5? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't love all the movies. There's only one I don't like, and it's I think My Neighbors, You're the Madas. Oh, and Tales of Earthsea. That's pretty bad. But every other one is great. They're all like classic Disney movies. They're all just really well done and really well animated, and they have great music and great characters. And this also has, great music, good characters, and it looks just fantastic. The game looks like basically like one of the movies. Like it feels like you're playing one of the Studio Ghibli movies, and it's really, really well done. The story's okay. It's not I don't think it's quite as good as the movies, but because it's like the trope, like, oh, you're the destined one to save the world and stuff. It's basically like that. But there's some twists in the end and towards the end there with some of the characters that you weren't expecting, like some of the villain characters that I think was pretty interesting. But I really enjoyed the way the world looks. Everything looks great. The combat system is probably my I don't know. It took a long time for me to get into the combat system because I remember playing the demo and I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. Because it was like it's all real time, and then you have to use the menus. You have to use your controller to choose actions rather than just like pressing a button like in Tales of Xillia. That's like completely real time. You don't have to like go through a menu to select something. Like this, it's something you have to kind of get used to. And it took me a long time to figure out that you could use the R2 and the L2 buttons to flip through the menus rather than having to use the D-pad. And that was just a lot easier for me because you could be using your thumb to maneuver around and like try and dodge attacks, and then you could also use the L2 and L2 to choose your abilities. So once I kind of figured that out, then I didn't have any more troubles with the combat system. And especially when you get the like all-out defense or the all-out attack commands, which they don't give you till like 20 hours in the game, like that really helped too. Because the AI is pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time with that game. I'm glad that I actually tried it rather than just writing it off after that bad experience with the demo. But if you like the movies, if you like Studio Ghibli movies, I highly recommend that you try this game out. I think it's probably like $20 or less now, so it's not going to be expensive. I think you'll probably enjoy it. I did use a strategy guide I guess the whole time, so I didn't have too much trouble. Although even in the boss fights, even if you kind of know like what their weakness is, you still kind of have to. You have to be. It takes some skill even with the strategy guide to defeat the bosses because it can be tricky. They have this whole system kind of like Pokemon where you have different familiars and they have different classes and abilities, and there's kind of like a gotta catch them all aspect, but you don't have to get them all if you don't want to. But there's certain ones that are definitely way more powerful than others. Like there's that the one that looks kind of like a dinosaur or something. He's really big. I forget what his name is, but you don't get him till like way later in the game. But he's like probably one of the best ones.
I pretty much used Mighty from start to finish. So I did as well in that game because I just really liked using him.
I got to a point where he kind of got weak. He was okay, but he wasn't as powerful as he used to be. So I don't know. There's some cool enemy designs and some familiar designs in that game.
Yeah, and what made it easier as well, you can fight the Tokos and make the game easier towards you.
Yeah, I think once you got to that point, like it wasn't as challenging anymore. Like it was like really, for me in the beginning part of the game, it was really hard. But once I got to the point where I could fight the Tokos and the Tokos and the Toko Colds or whatever, because you get tons of experience for beating them, then I just grind like crazy. So that wasn't. Then it was just like it was still kind of tricky in spots, like with the boss fights. But like any regular fight, you would just destroy everybody. So yeah, that was my number 8, Ni no Kuni.
All right, number 8 is a game that I had no intention of getting at the very beginning of the year, and said no. Well, I'm not really interested. I played one game in the series and didn't really enjoy it that much. But then, I saw a couple of videos and stuff online, people play it, and I was like, yep, this looks pretty cool. And even though there was a whole lot of controversy around it, I decided to get it anyway. And, we already talked about it. It's DMC Devil May Cry, which is number 8. Really, really enjoyed this game a whole lot. I love the attitude around the game. I love, Dante's attitude. The whole, like devil doesn't care or anything like that. It's like he's just, a teenager or close to being a teenager, and it's like he doesn't give a crap, and his whole attitude and everything, and the gameplay is really solid. The whole fighting, the fighting things, which the fighting combos and all that, which I didn't really enjoy in the other DMC game that I played, which was 4, which I disliked. When you had to go back and redo the same thing with another character, that's when I said, "Nope, I'm done." But this one is really good. It's really, really a great game, a great fighting game.
And actually, for us to get into your top 10 is actually quite a accomplishment because you're not a big fan of these kind of games anyway, I know for sure.
No, exactly. I'm not a fan of this kind of game at all. So to make it into the top 10, as you said, is an accomplishment for this game. Probably not the game that I'm most shocked that is in my top 10 this year, but a game I didn't expect there to be there, that's for sure. Played it on PC, looks marvelous. I really, really like this game a whole lot. The entire attitude around Dante and all that, really enjoyable. So, highly recommended. So, Derek, I recommend you play it. Yeah, really good game. Highly recommended. So, check it out if you can. And that's my number 8. I don't really have much more to say about it, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Another game that's probably not on either of your lists and not on a lot of people's lists. Another 3DS game, Fire Emblem Awakening. This is another game that's right up my alley with the strategy RPG, tactical RPG. I really like the character designs, they have like the 2D art character designs when there's dialogue, and then like the 3D polygonal characters, in the battlefield. They're animated really well. Although for some reason they have no feet, None of them have feet, and it's really, really weird. So that's like probably my only complaint about the game. It's like, what the hell? Where are their feet? So, and there's like tons of new classes because I've played, several of the older Fire Emblem games. There's new classes. There's a new feature where you have like this companion feature where you can team up two characters. They'll be on the same space on the battlefield, or you can have them like sitting right next to each other on the battlefield, and they'll have like more abilities and they'll be stronger. And there's also like this relationship system with the characters where you can get them up high enough so that they get married, and then they have kids, and then you can use their kids in battle and level up their kids, and like it goes on and on from there. And I haven't finished the game. I got to the point where like I can do all the different missions for the kids, because you actually have to like there's a certain mission for each like child you can have, and that's how you get them. There's no like cutscene of them like having sex or anything. It's just like a mission you have to do. Music is good too. It's not really like fantastic or anything. It's just it's good. The 3D is pretty cool too, even though I don't really use the 3D on a lot of the 3DS games, just because it doesn't like I have to wear glasses in order. Like I have some reading glasses that I wear like when I'm at work. I'm like looking at a screen all day. It just helps like with my focus. And for some reason, if I do the 3D without having glasses on, I get like a headache. But if I have the glasses on, which they have like a anti-glare thing, and they like it's very light magnification. But for some reason, when I wear the glasses, like the 3D looks fine to me. But the thing I don't like about the 3D on all the 3DS games is that you have to have your 3DS in like the exact right position for it to work. Otherwise, it just looks weird. But the 3D is good in Fire Emblem. I just don't really have it on. But yeah, I really love the battles. I love all the stuff they've added to it. Like there's a lot of Street Pass stuff, which is cool. You can Street Pass with people, and you can get their character, like their main character, in your game. You can even recruit them if you want, or you can battle them. It's really neat. It's just a lot of cool stuff that they've added to the game, like with the classic like Fire Emblem formula, and they really improved on it. And I really do like it. I just I haven't finished it. I need to go back to it. That and Project X Zone I really need to get back to. But really enjoyed this game. I think it's really approachable for a lot of people if they don't like these tactical RPGs. It's easy to get into. It's not too difficult. There is a mode where you don't like it has a permadeath mode, which is what the classic Fire Emblem formula is. Like if your character dies, then they're dead. But there's also a mode where you don't have that. So if you don't like that, you can try out that mode and see if you like it. But like if you like XCOM, that's another game where it's like a really hardcore game like the original one, but the newer one is much more approachable. This is kind of like that with Fire Emblem Awakening. It's much more. It's generally a lot easier than the past Fire Emblem games. But I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
All right, so my number 7 game is I'm not sure if I can call it an independent game, but it is a small game that came out earlier this year. It came out on, I think it's Xbox. Not sure if it came out on PS3. Came out on PC a little later on, which is where I played it. It has a crazy little control scheme and all. The way you control the protagonists, plural. And it's a really good game, really touching game. It goes in directions you didn't really expect when you started it up, and guess I should say what it is right away. It's Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is my number 7 game. 6 games better than Brothers. Sorry, Brad. There are 6 games better than Brothers.
So you're sharing their 6
this
games
year.
better than Brothers in.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this game. The control schemes that you have, like one brother's mapped to one analog stick, the other brother's mapped to the other analog stick, and you have to move them around. It took me a while. Even at the end, I was still going like one direction with one, and the other one was like flailing around behind them. Like, oh, I'm not doing this right. This is not the right one. It's like it gets a while to get used to, but once you get the control scheme down, and you go through the little puzzles and the story and everything, and there's no speaking in the game, but they speak, but it's like some sort of Simlish or something like that, It's like blah 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 blah. It's like not really understandable language, but just looking at them and their body language and their sign language and everything, and you kind of understand what happens. And at the start of the game is like really, well, I wouldn't say cheerful, because you're kind of on a journey to find some medicine to cure your dad, I guess, and your mom just passed away and everything. So you're kind of on a journey to do that. And it starts, it's lighthearted, and a couple of things happen, and towards the end it completely shifts into something else. And I gotta say, I was not expecting that at all at the end. I don't know if you guys were. I don't know if Derek played it, but
yep, it's on my list.
Yeah, okay. I was not expecting. I didn't expect that at all at the very end. I don't know if you did, Derek.
No, no, I didn't. Not at all.
Did you, Darren, expect what happened at the end?
Not so sure though. I kind of did in a way though, but I guess not really at the end of it all though. To tell the truth though, but yeah, it was a pretty surprising ending to say the very least.
I didn't see that coming at all. I was like, okay, well, and it takes a turn, and it becomes something else completely. And I gotta say that game really, like, it's very emotional towards the end. I'm not gonna say what happens, but there's some emotional spots towards the end, and that's what made this game really fantastic. I thought it was the whole control scheme, and the story and everything that the two brothers go through. It's really good. It's a fantastic game, and I did not expect that from Starbreeze at all. The guys who made like The Darkness, you don't really expect that from them. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and they also made the Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Contraband, one of our favorite games of last year, Syndicate.
Yep. You don't really expect that from them, but you go, wow, okay. This is really, really good. This is a really good little game. Really enjoyed it. That's why it's number 7. So, great game.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Now, Derek, on to your number 6. What is it?
My number 6 is BioShock Infinite. I really, really like the world of Columbia. I like Elizabeth as a character. The combat is okay, but I think it was a slight misstep. Like, it wasn't as good as BioShock 2, I thought, because I really liked how you could dual wield in BioShock 2. Like, that was a big improvement, where you could have, your vigor, or your, what the hell is it called?
Plasmid.
Yeah, plasmid in one hand, and then maybe you can have a weapon in the other hand. That you can't do in this game, or can you do it? God, I can't remember. I'm just like, I have a terrible memory.
You can have
anyway.
You can have two plasmids, I think.
I didn't like how you can't carry like a whole bunch of guns like you could in like the first 2 BioShock games. Like, that was annoying. Like, oh god, now I have to switch to this, and like, it's just kind of. And there's points where you run out of ammo, especially in the DLC. Especially, you ran out of ammo like all the damn time.
That's true.
And like the skyhook stuff, I didn't even use that until like probably towards the very end of the game, because I didn't like, or I assumed you could not like slow down, and that was just like
you
constantly going fast. Like, it took me like forever to figure out like, oh, you can slow down and like aim at people. It's not just like super fast the whole time. So I think if I was going to play through again, I probably would use those a little bit more. I actually used them quite a bit in the DLC.
Yeah.
And that did help. The story is really good. It's one of those stories where while you're playing it and while it's happening, you're like, oh my god. And then after you stop playing it and you like sit through and you think about it, it's like, wait, what? Huh? That's kind of like what happened to me. Like, as soon as I finished it, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then like the part where you, like when you're finishing off the Songbird and then you go down, I know it's been mentioned before, so I'm just going to spoil it. You go down to Rapture, it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. You're like, that's what I thought, because I love...
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Go back to Rapture, that was definitely one of my favorite gaming moments of 2013.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments of the year.
Definitely, yeah. I love the first 2 BioShock games, this first one especially. and I love that world. And when you get brought back into that world, it's like, oh man, this is holy crap. I just wanted to like go around and explore. I didn't want to stop. So like that was awesome. Like I think some of the other stuff with the story wasn't that great. The more you think about it, like the whole like, oh, you're Comstock. Like what? Like I didn't even think about that at all until like that happened. It's like, wait a minute, what? So, and the other thing I don't like is all of the audio logs. Like there's so much story in there that I missed because I didn't get all the audio logs, and half the time after I got them, I was like in combat, so I couldn't really listen to them. And I wish that all that story was surfaced like much better, like where I don't have to go digging for it like I want it, written, part of the main story. Like I don't even know who the Lutece twins even are, really. Like there's a lot of stuff in that game that I don't even know. Like most of it was the stuff with Elizabeth and Comstock and whatnot. I think maybe they could have.
Yeah, but that's what you can say is same about the first game as well, because it was the same thing where you had to go around Rapture and look for the audio logs, and we'll get the whole story unless you did so, because there are certain characters you wouldn't get to know more about them unless you look around. So that's pretty much the reason why.
That's true, and I mean they've done it before, and I think time has gone on far enough now that audio logs don't need to be in every game. That BioShock 1 came out when that was like a new thing. Now it's been done so often. It's like do something else, and like all these collectibles. Like let's. I would prefer the story in BioShock Infinite, especially, to be surfaced more. Like I don't like the whole like audio log stuff. Like I think in general I just don't really like it as much anymore. But it is a really good game. Like, it looks great even on 360. I know I've seen footage of it on PC and it looks just fantastic. I think that's a game that I think would be a good candidate for like an HD-ified version, kind of like Tomb Raider, for like Xbox One or PS4. But it is a really good game. I did enjoy it.
All right, I'm just gonna say the title, haters out there. Grand Theft Auto 5 is my number 6.
Oh God.
I will say why it is my number 6 game, because it's been getting flack from, and I haven't said anything
from me.
From
it's getting flack from me
because Darren also gave it crap. But yeah, but as you guys, I didn't like Grand Theft Auto 4. Wasn't sure about this one. Then I saw the trailers and I went, "Yep, I'm getting this game." Bought the game and played through the entire game. Contrary to you guys, I think the characters were pretty good. The weakest character, in my opinion, is Michael in this game, because I know a whole lot of things happened. He's probably the central character of the game from perspectives, but I really liked Franklin, because I think Franklin, is the whole, I just wanna. He's the guy who brings the guys back together, and
yeah, the thing is though, like Franklin just goes nowhere though. Like his character, like he starts off promising, but then just becomes obsolete kind of during the middle of it. So it does, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you have three characters there. You have to introduce.
Yeah, I know.
The characters as they come in. Franklin got his introduction, and Michael got his introduction, and Trevor got his introduction, and everything.
Yeah, but they just focus too much, Franklin and Trevor.
Yeah, because they have a history together. That's why it's a little bit more complicated. And you go out with Franklin, and you do the missions for what's his face there with the glasses, Lesser. Yeah. So, I mean, I really like the mission varieties. I love the heists. The heists were awesome in this game. Much more mission variety. More enjoyable. Like, the missions are more enjoyable than other Grand Theft Auto. Well, I mean, than 4. Not other Grand Theft Auto games, but than 4 for sure. Soundtrack, I gotta admit also that it's not that great. There are a couple of songs on there that are great, but I think the soundtrack for Saints Row 4 is better. But yeah, it looks gorgeous for an Xbox 360 game. It looks absolutely amazing. I really like the dialogue, as Derek mentioned. the dialogue between Franklin and what's his face, the other
Lamar.
guy, Lamar. Yeah, I thought that brought me back to San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You know, the whole dialogue between the two black guys. Maybe there's a whole lot of swearing, but I think they're pretty much like that. I mean, people, black people from the hood, that's how they talk. So I think they represented that well. That when you go back to Grove Street, shivers up everywhere on my on my back and everywhere. That was awesome. That was really great. That little nod to there. And I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's not a fantastic game, as you guys said. The online is pretty weak. I thought you'd have much more things to do online than just, play death matches and races and, go around robbing stores or stuff like that. But I know as you level up, you get more stuff to do. Like we did some sky jumps, a couple of sky jumps, and we did a couple of other things in there. But I haven't played the online a whole lot. I'm not a big fan of it anyway. But yeah, I enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 5. I thought it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it a whole lot, much more than I enjoyed 4. And I'm probably the only person here who's going to say this, but the story is much better than 4. A whole lot better than 4. It fell flat at the end. Like at the very end, I think the whole revenge thing on everybody, that was kind of dumb. All in all, the story was much more consistent. The whole relationships with everybody. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I think I really enjoyed the game. So I can understand people don't like it. That's perfectly normal. But yeah, well yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. So there you go.
Number 5 is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Nice.
I didn't really know what to expect from this game. I watched a quick look, and I was kind of sold on it. And I had money burning in my Xbox Live account, so I figured, well, let's give it a shot. It is a short game, but I think it's well worth the price, and I think it's just as long as it needs to be. It doesn't need to be any longer than it is. I really especially like the control system. I think it's so innovative. Like, I've never played a game like that before, and it's so unique. And it does take a while to get used to. Like, I know Jeff just wrote it off just because he couldn't get used to it.
Yeah.
I don't think he gave it enough time, honestly. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's really cool. And especially there's a part where you're swinging a rope on this, like, there's some platforming sequence in this, like, tower thing. And you're swinging this rope around, and it's like, oh man, the way that works is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I've never played like a game like that ever. Like that kind of control system. It was so fun and original. Like, it's so fresh, And not only that, but the story was so powerful, and like the way everything happens, through those characters, and especially at the end, I was not expecting what happened to happen.
Yep.
I was kind of anticipating something like that, but not from the certain character that
it happens to.
From.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying not to spoil it, but like, you're just kind of going along, and like, oh, there's this big giant, and there's this person that's helping us and get away. So you finish that area, and then you go to the next. And it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, and it's just so shocking. Like, oh man, what has just happened? I have to and then what you have to do after that, it's like, holy crap. I think it would have had a little bit more emotional impact if there was some dialogue in there for me.
Okay.
Like, they just sound like the Sims characters, like they're speaking in Simlish, So you just kind of have to like figure out what they're saying from like their gestures and stuff. But I really do enjoy the game. I think everybody should play it. Like this, and Gone Home. I think everybody should play these games. Gone Home for the story, and then Brothers for the controls. Like, it was so fun playing that game, because I never played anything like that. And then the story on top of that, and it looks really good too. It's not like a realistic looking game. Like, it has like somewhat of a stylized, I don't want to say cartoony, but it's not. I guess it is kind of like that. but like all the environments, you can sit on these benches, and like the camera, like like kind of zooms out and gives you a nice view of the area.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in every one of
So
them.
yeah, I did too. I think I might have missed.
I missed one or
like,
two,
towards the
I think.
but I sat in every one that I encountered. It's a really good game. I definitely recommend everybody play that game.
Oh yes,
And that was my number 5.
it is fantastic. It's a really awesome game. Really, really awesome game. My number 5 is a game that actually beats the streak of games of this series that have come at number 1 when they were released. Sadly, this one didn't crack the top. Well, it did crack the top 5, but I mean, it didn't crack, I guess, the number 1 spot. Saints Row 4 is my number 5. I really liked this game, but it's no Saints Row the Third by far and wide. Never a Saints Row the Third. But yeah, it does have some really good moments. Darren, you talked about it. I don't like the fact that everything that you did from, I guess, Saints Row 1 to Saints Row 3 becomes obsolete as you become the President of the United States. And that's rarely referenced in the game as you go along.
What do you mean? Because everything you've done is obsolete.
Well, I mean, it's the progression of the character, but they completely forget about the gangs. Like the gangs disappear. That's what made Saints Row.
Oh, okay. So you mean there's like no rival gangs because you're the president?
Yeah,
now?
there's no rival gangs. There's no. I mean, driving in a car is obsolete now. It's like, in this game when you get to drive in a car, it's like, oh well, I don't want to drive in a car. I want to jump. I want to run up buildings and jump, and so, it kind of takes away what Saints Row was before and sets their own new little thing there with the aliens and all that. It's not bad. It's not. I'm not saying it's bad at all, but it's kind of. It took me some getting used to, because when I popped this game in, I was like, oh fuck this. What did they do to Saints Row? And I was like, Jesus. But it took me some getting used to, but as you get used to the powers and you upgrade them and you go around running up buildings and collecting the not the orbs, but what do they call them? The other things. It's not orbs, it's something else. But I collected them all in the game, so collecting everything and just using your powers and doing the missions. The missions are awesome. The They Live mission, we've talked about that before on previous podcasts. That mission was absolutely amazing. That was an amazing mission. The comedy is still there. The laughs are still there. The obscenities, just the insane stuff that you do in this game is still there. That's pretty cool. And I think the only gripe that I have is the activities are absolute shit in this game. They're really, really bad, like really bad activities. I think 1 or 2 of them are passable, but the rest of them is just like, oh my god. Like now doing the whole insurance fraud thing, it's like a piece of cake. It's like you get hit once and you can go up to $1 million just rolling around, and just the rest of them are kind of they're not that great. Some of them are horrible, like that disc thing that you have to you have to shoot all the discs at the right place there. I can't remember what it's called with the telekinesis and all that.
Oh, like the soccer balls or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's called TK Rift.
Exactly, yeah, TK Rift.
I hate those ones.
Those were absolutely horrible. But yeah, the rest of the game I really enjoyed. Like the voice acting is pretty great. Special appearances in the game the throwbacks are awesome. Throwbacks to Saints Row 1, 2, and 3. Pretty great. But yeah, in all, the game is pretty awesome. There's one radio station where it's only a good song after good song after good song. Like the hits one. It's like that radio station is just amazing.
Yeah, and you can make your own mixtape and whatever songs you like, you can
exactly
play, whatever.
Yeah, which is a good feature for that game. But yeah, it's still a pretty good game, and the DLC is great so far. So that's pretty good. But yeah, Saints Row 4 is my number 5 game.
Thank you, Dennis. Now we'll go over to Derek to see what his number 4 game of 2013 is. Take it away, Derek.
All right, number 4 is the game that I bought my Xbox One just to play, which is Dead Rising 3. I was highly anticipating this game, even though a lot of people were having issues with what they showed at E3 with the whole like darkened, vibe to the game and stuff. But after playing it, it is my favorite Dead Rising game because I think it's what I always wanted from Dead Rising, where I don't have to worry about the time limit. I can just go fuck around and like have crazy weapons and just like do all this crazy shit. Like that's all I ever wanted from Dead Rising. Like I don't really care too much about the story. Like I just like going around like doing crazy shit, you know? Like I love like how you can just make your combo weapons right from wherever you are. You don't have to go to a certain bench or a certain room. And like all these different crazy different weapons, like there's like these super bombs. Like did you guys ever make that huge bomb?
No,
No,
not yet.
didn't.
No.
There's like 4 or 5 levels of this bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And like the last one is like a nuclear explosion. Nuclear explosion. It's really crazy. Like you just set it off and then like everything just blows up everywhere and it's like the screen's all full of smoke and you even fall over like no matter how far away you are.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And just like like you said with the Ultimate Grim Reaper, which I actually didn't get until like almost the very end of the game. I was on chapter 7 and then they did that feature on Giant Bomb where, they were talking about that combo weapon that you get, which can just increase your level like super fast.
I think it was on Unprofessional Wednesday, so it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get that until I was level like 42 or so. So I got it and I like maxed out my level at that point. But up until then, I was using like tons of different kinds of weapons, and I think that Ultimate Grim Reaper is kind of like a detriment to the game, like because it kind of, I wouldn't say it ruins it, but I think it might take some of the fun out of it.
Okay.
Because you might rely on that too much. I don't know what you did, but
yeah, I did. Well, yeah.
Like I was using just tons of different stuff all the time, and I had a lot of fun doing that because there's so many different weapon combos.
Yeah, you can level up really easily with that weapon.
Yeah, you can.
I have the street light and the battery there that you can use. Like it does electricity everywhere, and you can like smash it on the ground next to you, and it does like
and then you get like an AOE effect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there's like 3 or 4 different versions of that too, where one's fire, one's like electricity, and one's ice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one that'll like switch in between the two.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah, there's some really cool weapon designs in that game. And actually, after I finished it, I went back and I got all the other blueprints that I was missing. The only thing I haven't done is got all of the Frank West statues. I haven't got those yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or all of the
tragic
endings. Yeah, I haven't gotten all those. But yeah, I really love that game. I just love going around and killing zombies in crazy ways. You know, it's just a lot of fun.
Were you disappointed with the
weapons,
ending, or
no? Because I never really cared about the story to begin with.
Okay.
I liked it because Chuck Green was in it.
Yeah.
And Chuck Green shows up at the end because I like Chuck Green more than Frank West. So.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, cool, that's Chuck Green. Like, oh, look, that's the kid that or the girl that you're with is his daughter from Dead Rising 2.
Yeah.
Dead Rising 2. So
yeah,
and, that was cool. Like the rest of it, I don't really care too much about. I do like the fighting the bosses, like the psychopaths.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're not as hard as they were in last games, but they're pretty cool to fight.
Yeah, and playing in a co-op makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, I played through the whole game by myself, so I played it on normal, and I just started on Nightmare mode. It's kind of like, that's like New Game Plus for me, so because I'm at level 50 and I have all my stuff, so that'll be a breeze. So I'll just wear my Mega Man X armor through the whole game, and then I'll get the blaster for beating on Nightmare mode. So yeah, that's the ultimate Dead Rising game for me. Is this one? It's just what I always wanted. Like I don't want to have to worry about saving people. I don't want to worry about timer. I just want to go fuck around and kill zombies and run around and do crazy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I got.
Of course, it's my favorite.
So I'm happy.
Yeah, boy.
Happy
yeah. It's a good game. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a whole lot, except for that ending, like the very ending, the final mission and everything. I think it ruined it for me. And
I didn't think it was hard at all. Like I didn't die once.
Yeah.
I didn't have any troubles. So I don't know.
I died a couple of times, but I haven't played a Dead Rising game since the first one, which I played halfway through and stopped because I was pissed off at the save system. So, but yeah, it's I enjoyed it. I kind of want to go back to it and get the blueprints and the rest of the statues and the other things, the tragic endings, which aren't really tragic, but I want to get those also.
No, they're just kind of funny.
Yeah, they call it tragic endings, but it's more funny than other that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll go back maybe play with Darren, play his chapters he hasn't played. I think that when me and you tried to play Derek, they were having some problems with Xbox Live, because I kind of saw afterwards that some stuff on Xbox Live wasn't working correctly. Because after that I could get in with
well.
I had no problem with James and with Darren getting game started. So.
Well, anyway, I mean, I definitely would play co-op if it worked.
I think we tried the 26th, right? The 26th or the 25th? I can't remember.
One of the two
Yeah.
days.